It's not easy to be a rebel, let alone a rebel leader. The Rebel Alliance didn't win through strength or numbers, it won through belief, held by a handful of leaders who risked and sacrificed everything for freedom. Their decisions lit the spark that burned the Empire to the ground. From senators and generals to spies and insurgents, these are the 10 most important rebel leaders explained. Number 10, Hera Syndulla. More than just a brilliant pilot, General Hera Syndulla was also a visionary. From the cockpit of the Ghost, she led not just a crew, but a cause. While others waited for orders, Hera took action, carving out victories before the Rebel Alliance was even a real thing. Her leadership blended sharp military instincts with genuine emotional intelligence. She inspired loyalty not by command, but by example. Hera's strategic mind helped shape early rebel cells into a unified force, and her bravery in conflicts such as the Battle of Lothal laid the groundwork for galactic change. She was also one of the major players in the defeat of Grand Admiral Thrawn, who posed a massive risk to the fledgling rebellion. Hera proved that resistance wasn't just about fighting, it was about holding on to hope, even when it hurt. She balanced duty and heart like no one else. When the rebellion needed a leader in the skies and on the ground, Hera Syndulla delivered every time. It's no wonder that so many rebels looked up to her and were proud to follow her into battle. She not only earned the title of general, but she deserved it and held the distinguished rank throughout the Galactic Civil War and beyond. Number 9, Micah Evon. This rebel captain was the heart and soul of Twilight Company, the 61st Mobile Infantry of the Alliance, one of its toughest units. His leadership was characterized by unwavering commitment and a deep moral compass that guided his decisions. Evon founded Twilight Company prior to the Battle of Yavin, assembling a diverse group of soldiers united by the common goal of resisting the Galactic Empire. Yet, it wasn't Evon's strategic brilliance that made him such a great rebel leader. Much like Hera, it was Evon's willingness to get down and dirty on the front lines that inspired others to follow and fight alongside him. Despite lacking traditional military polish, his effectiveness as a leader was undeniable, earning him the respect and loyalty of his troops. Evon's ability to inspire and maintain cohesion within the company was instrumental in their survival and success during numerous campaigns, including the grueling battle on Ferric Pax, where only 37 soldiers survived. His strategic mind and dedication to his soldiers were perfect examples of what a great rebel leader should be. Number 8, Admiral Raddus. A leader that was willing to defy orders in order to follow his heart, Admiral Raddus was a veteran of Mon Cala's long fight against oppression. He understood that waiting for ideal conditions only let the Empire's tyranny grow stronger. When the time came to strike Scarif and retrieve the Death Star's plans, the Rebel Council hesitated, not wanting to reveal themselves, but Raddus launched his fleet anyway. That wasn't just courage, that was vision. He commanded from the front lines, aboard the Profundity, guiding one of the boldest, most critical space battles in galactic history. He didn't just support the Rogue One team, he made their success possible. His decisive tactics, sacrifice, and refusal to back down helped turn a desperate gamble into a turning point. Raddus might have lost his life at the Battle of Scarif when Darth Vader boarded his ship, but he went on to inspire generations of rebels that came after, with their resistance even naming one of their own capital ships, the Raddus, in his honor. Number 7, Crix Madine. A former Imperial officer who defected at great personal risk, he didn't just bring intel, he brought expertise. Madine understood Imperial tactics from the inside out, and he used that knowledge to build and lead some of the most daring and complex special operations in Rebel history. While leaders such as Mon Mothma and Admiral Akbar worked in strategy and diplomacy, Madine got his hands dirty, coordinating infiltration units, sabotage teams, and extraction missions that kept the rebellion alive. His crowning moment was the fact that he was able to orchestrate the ground strike on Endor to destroy the shield generator protecting the Death Star. That wasn't just any old operation, it was the mission that opened the door for the final victory. While often overlooked in the grand scheme of the rebellion, Madine was the quiet architect of chaos for the Empire, and the Rebel Alliance's ace in the shadows. He turned defection into revolution, becoming one of the unsung heroes of the Galactic Civil War. Number 6. Jan Dodonna. One of the rebellion's first great military minds, General Dodonna was a former Republic officer turned rebel strategist. Dodonna helped wrangle the chaos of the many rebel cells and bring it into some kind of order. He wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but when he spoke, the entire alliance listened. It was Dodonna who analyzed the Death Star's weakness and planned the trench-run assault on the battle station. Without his precise coordination at Yavin 4, the Death Star would have attacked, and the Rebel Alliance would have been wiped out there and then. He believed in people over machines and strategy over spectacle, and his calm presence held the rebellion steady in its most desperate hour. His ability to unify scattered forces into a cohesive strike team was unmatched, and while others led fleets or troopers, Dodonna led the vision, showing the galaxy that the impossible was possible. Number 5. Admiral Ackbar. More brilliant than flashy, Gale Ackbar was a veteran of the Clone Wars and survivor of Imperial enslavement. He brought to the Rebel Alliance a level of military genius it desperately needed. As the Supreme Naval Commander, he organized the ragtag fleets of the Rebellion into a force capable of taking on the mighty Imperial Navy, a seemingly impossible task after the fleet had disappeared following the Battle of Hoth. Ackbar masterminded the Battle of Endor, and while the fleet were outgunned and outnumbered, he helped find the decisive moves that brought down the second Death Star. His calm under pressure, deep tactical intuition, and unshakable loyalty made him the anchor of Rebel High Command. Ackbar believed in the cause, but more importantly, he believed in the people fighting it. Every decision he made was about preserving lives, winning freedom, and outsmarting tyranny. Ackbar had seen war, and he had seen violence and death. The Clone Wars in the subsequent years have been hard for him, yet through it all, Ackbar proved that the sharpest weapon was a brilliant mind behind the fleet. Number 4. Saw Gerrera. Far from the typical rebel leader, Saw Gerrera was one with more raw passion than many of the others combined. While others debated diplomacy and strategy, Saw was already fighting. He was there during the Clone Wars when the first sparks of rebellion were lit. Trained by Jedi, hardened by war, and losing his sister and countless friends in the process, Saw was hardened and passionate. He didn't wait for permission, he acted, and sometimes that scared even the rebellion. His tactics were brutal, and his trust hard-earned, but Saw saw what others wouldn't, that the Empire wouldn't be reasoned with, it had to be broken. He exposed its darkest truths, unearthed secrets, and bled for victories that no one else would claim. Other rebel leaders called him an extremist, but without his early insurgency, there would be no later alliance. Saw Gerrera was the rebellion's uncompromising edge, the shadow that made the light possible. Not a hero in the traditional sense, but a necessary one. A leader that was willing to do the wrong things for the greater good. Number 3, Bail Organa. He was quiet, principled, and most importantly, unassuming. A high-ranking senator of Alderaan, he didn't vanish into the shadows after the fall of the Republic. He stayed in the Senate, working from within, using diplomacy and influence to protect the vulnerable and build the framework of resistance. While others raised blasters, Bail raised voices, coordinating with Mon Mothma, protecting Jedi survivors like Obi-Wan and Yoda, and laying the foundation for a future alliance. He drew no attention to himself and stayed under the Empire's radar. Bail knew rebellion would require more than just firepower. It needed legitimacy and hope, something that he passed on to his adoptive daughter, Leia Organa. Bail didn't fight the Empire in the traditional sense. He outwitted it. His patience, his connections, and his unwavering morality made him the rebellion's quiet cornerstone. The Alliance didn't start on the battlefield. It started in the Senate and behind closed doors with Bail Organa. Number 2, Luthen Rael, the designer and architect of the rebellion, and long before the Rebel Alliance had a name, a fleet, or hope, Luthen Rael was already waging war in the shadows before others thought it possible. He didn't fight for glory, he fought for the possibility of a better future. A master manipulator, a collector of secrets, a dealer in sacrifice. Luthen built networks, funded uprisings, and pulled strings across the galaxy to create something no one else could see yet, a resistance. Luthen saw the cost of standing up to the Empire. He lived a double life, and he was forced to lie on a daily basis, and yet he kept going, because he knew that it would take more than half measures to bring down the Empire. He gave up everything, his identity, his comfort, and even his soul, for a future he knew he'd never live to see. To him, it wasn't just a rebellion, it was faith. Luthen Rael wasn't just a leader, he was the rebellion's ghost in the machine, laying down every part of his life for a galaxy that may never know his sacrifices or even his name. Before we get to first place, there are a few honorable mentions of rebel leaders who didn't make this list. People such as Princess Leia Organa, Han Solo, and Lando Calrissian all led the Rebel Alliance with bravery and conviction. Senators such as Padme Amidala, Ax Mo, could be considered as architects of the Proto-Rebellion, and other senators including Noor Jebel and Tynra Pamlo played important roles in the early days of the true fight against the Empire. All of them were worthy leaders. Number 1, Mon Mothma. She wasn't the loudest voice in the rebellion, but she was its conscience. A former senator who saw through the lies of Palpatine long before most dared whisper dissent, Mon Mothma risked everything, not with a blaster, but with her principles. While others fought battles, Mon fought to build something: unity, structure, and purpose. She was one of the founding members of the Delegation of 2000 and orchestrated the fragile alliances that became the Rebellion, standing tall when hope was in short supply. She gave up her wealth, her family, her safety, all for the belief that freedom was worth the sacrifice. Mon had to walk a razor's edge, outmaneuvering the Empire from within, choosing silence when silence meant survival for millions. The Gorman Massacre was the breaking point, with her publicly denouncing the Empire, Palpatine, and all he stood for. Without her, there would have been no organized rebellion, just chaos, noise, and no cohesive alliance. It really is easy to see why Mon Mothma was the most important and impactful leader that the Rebel Alliance ever had, and how her every action served to better the galaxy and the people who despised the tyranny of the Empire.